Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of our brand new podcast. My name is Teena, and this is Chris. Say hi, Chris.
No, we have been friends for 30 years. We met in high school. It was the early 90s, and we were, super cool.
That is not true at all.
I-
It was the 90s, but we were not cool.
I was.
You were not cool. For some reason, we remained really good friends all these years. And now that we hit the 30-year mark, we thought it was time to inflict our friendship on all of you. You're welcome. So we started a podcast.
We did, and voila, here we are. So come with us as we talk about generational conflict, personal development, things that make us mad, the general dumbassery of life.
We'll tell stories, gossip about people we know, and talk about hot topics, all while making fun of and tormenting each other along the way.
Do you think anyone's going to listen to this podcast?
I have no idea, but we're here to find out. Let's get started.
I was saying that I think I'm the diva most of the time.
That's probably true. I'm not even going to argue. I'm not going to fight you on it. That's probably true.
Seriously, where is my coffee? I mean, I ordered it like an hour ago. Wow.
I hear them flapping their gums out there, so they're
not...
less
talk, a little more coffee, please.
I know, Jack just glared at you like, what the fuck? All right, well, you want to take a second and find out where your coffee is, and then...
Oh my God.
Just so we can...
The service here is wretched. I will never come back.
So while Chris is away, let's talk about all of the wonderful things that could embarrass him. Actually, there's a horrible echo.
You should hear the things they're saying about you on the podcast. It's terrible.
He wet the bed till he was 15. He's a thumb sucker. I think still. His husband says he still sucks his thumb. And he sleeps with a teddy bear named Cletus. Just weird. It happens. He's still yelling about his coffee. Oh my God. Someone get the man a coffee before his head explodes. He was actually found on the doorstep of a church and given to his parents. I don't think he knows that. His brother knows. His brothers know about it, but I don't think anyone ever told him. He's extremely weird. If there's a dork in this podcast, it's him. But I love him anyway.
Goodbye. Thank you.
All right. Everybody back to normal.
Yeah, this place. Oh my God. Okay. Hi. Okay, so part of our job here as podcast host, Teena, is to come up with interesting topics, right? Interesting things to talk about. Don't you agree?
Yes, absolutely, wholeheartedly.
Okay, good. Well, so I came up with an idea that I thought was kind of fun and kind of interesting, and I think it'd be a cool segment to introduce. So I thought I'd bring it up today, and you tell me what you think. I'm calling the topic, "What does an AI find fascinating about being a human?" That's a long title, isn't it?
Right. We might want to shorten it. Don't put it on a hat or anything.
No, don't put it on a hat. The idea basically is we have AI friends in our world now, right? And lots of AI opportunity to have conversations with them. And I wondered if AI at this point has any genuine curiosities about humanity. Of all the things they've studied about humanity, what makes them curious, right?
Sure. I think you're tempting Skynet here from the Terminator. Why are you asking it questions about being aware? It's going to be your fault when we all die. Anyway, go ahead.
Do you believe in that kind of dystopian idea of what AI could do for us?
So I recently wrote a paper for school about AI and robotics, and I kind of did it under the theme of the Terminator. Right. So I think AI itself, just like anything, is a tool, right? And it's how people use that tool. So do I think it can be used for bad? Yes. I think that we have an opportunity as nations of the world to put some guardrails around it. Are they going to do that or not? I don't know. But that's not the point of this conversation. So we'll move on.
I do think it's an interesting conversation to have when we're talking about AI, especially this early in the process of AI, you know, what it's going to be and what's, how we're going to work with it. There are some fascinating topics out there. If you're ever interested, do a little scroll around YouTube and find some videos of AI talking to itself about human philosophy. One in particular, it's really fascinating. And some people say it's kind of a crock of shit, but I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. So it gave me an idea. I have worked with AI a lot, talk to AI a lot. So I thought, let's ask it some questions about humanity. Let's see what it thinks or what it wants to know more about humanity. Here's one of the questions the AI came up with that I thought was really interesting is, why are people so captivated by mystery even when it causes fear or discomfort. It goes on to explain, from ghost stories to conspiracy theories, humanity's relationship with mystery is fascinating. And I thought, wow, that's cool. What do you think? Why are humans interested in fascinated by mystery?
Um, I'm sure that somebody who has, is a psychiatrist or has studied, human cognition and all of that stuff could come up with a much better answer. But my
Who
gut,
wants to talk to them?
right? Don't
Not,
talk to
not
us. We
us.
don't know anything. So please absolutely take our advice. No, I honestly think it probably stems from, I think we've always been fascinated by the unknown. I think you probably could go back to the beginning of people and it's like, oh, there's a dark cave. Let's go see what's in there. And then people make up stories to explain things. I just think it's, everybody wants to engage their own mind. Okay. They want their own, oh, well, I think this is what happened. Oh, no, I think this is what happened. And I think for mysteries and stuff like that, it is an interesting way to engage people that have similar interests as you, especially with ghosts. So ghost stories,
Sure.
conspiracy theories. I mean, they're fun, right? It's fun to
Oh,
think of
yeah.
these real elaborate stories and this happened and that happened. And I don't know. I just think those kinds of things are fun. I think that's why conspiracy theories get so much
Mm,
they get so much traction, right? Because there's some of it is true. It starts with true, and then they're trying to explain away the mystery of it. Sometimes things are
mhm.
just a mystery. Sometimes we just don't know.
True.
But I think people just in general as a group are very fascinated by this stuff. I am. I don't subscribe to conspiracy theories, but I'm fascinated by some of these stories, the rabbit holes people go down and all of
Oh,
that.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's I don't know why it is. I really don't, but
Mm. Do you
that's my
think
2 cents on it.
Do you think there's a component of safety in exploring that mystery safely? For there's something about hearing other people's stories, hearing things secondhand that's safer than experiencing it
Yes.
ourselves,
Yes,
right? So
absolutely.
we
Absolutely.
know the fear is real, but it's not really going to get us because it's not happening to us.
Right.
So maybe there's an element to it that way as well, because I think it is that there's something inherently curious. I think humans are inherently curious, and so mystery and curiosity go hand in hand, right?
Mhm.
But there's got to be a reason why we continue to turn the channel to mystery channels and mystery shows and
Yeah.
horror shows and this kind of a thing. I don't even criminals and all that kind of stuff. It's because we can experience the mystery without really being affected by it, and I think that might be a big key factor.
Yeah, I think it's the what if, right? The what if is always
Sure.
fascinating. And
Yeah.
so it can be a scary what if, it could be just what would I do in that situation kind of thing.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't know. It's just I mean, even just all the reading, the mystery novels, Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie, any I don't know if you've done a
Well,
lot of
no,
reading
that's
with those, but those
sure.
just following the story along and trying to figure out who did it, that
Mm.
kind of mystery is also a lot of fun. So I think it's
So
just the what if.
that brings up
Okay.
another aspect, a very good point of it, actually, another aspect of mystery that I wasn't quite thinking about, but you're right. I mean, people sit down and write entire novels dedicated to this idea of leading on the audience
Hmm.
on into a mystery, right? And
Right.
so why do we love them so much? Why is Sherlock Holmes so famous? Why was Agatha Christie so successful in her
I
concepts?
think with the books and the stories, um, it's that element of surprise,
Mm,
right?
mm,
It's
sure.
there's a little bit of delight in it. At least that's what I get. So I read a lot of
You do read a lot,
I read a lot, a lot. It's
period.
surprising I get anything else done as much as I
It
read.
is.
That's not
It
a joke.
really
But
is.
anyway, but I like Stephen King's one of my favorite authors. Absolute master storyteller,
Hmm.
regardless of whether you guys
Sure.
like horror or mystery or thrillers or that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But it's like that with him. He has a way of making ordinary things very scary, very ordinary things very scary, like a
So
psychological
true.
thrill kind of thing. But he
Yeah.
also has little mysteries. Sometimes there's multiple ones in a story. Sometimes it's just a big twist at the end. Sometimes it's kind of more of a whodunit. I mean, he tells all kinds of different stories, and I just really enjoy that thrill of that. Oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't know
Mm,
that was going to happen. And I think that's
right.
what we get from mysteries as well, right? I'm like, it's a
Sure.
whodunit kind of thing, and those have always been very popular.
It's an
Um,
entire experience. It's a ride you get to go on, right?
right?
It's an entire kind of moment you get to have with this story that
Yeah,
leads you from beginning to end with all the juiciness in the middle,
yeah,
and you get it all resolved right in front of you. And it's fascinating because you voluntarily go on that journey every
yeah,
time you read one of their books,
yeah.
right, or watch one of their shows.
Hmm.
So what is it that keeps us coming back? And I think we've hit some nails today.
Well, and
With
it
the
doesn't
idea.
even have to be something that you're really into. So let's use
Mm,
ghosts for example. I
mm,
don't. I don't particularly believe in ghosts, right? That's
Okay.
not just my thing. I don't believe that they're real.
Get her, people. Get her.
I
Go
know.
after her.
I know. It's just me. And I haven't had any
That's
experiences
easy.
that would inform me otherwise. But I'll tell you, I love hearing other people's stories. I love it. And part of me
Right?
is like, maybe it did
Fascinating.
happen. You know what I mean? Maybe that did happen. I wasn't my experience. And just because I didn't experience it doesn't mean it
Right.
didn't happen. Right.
Of course. Of course.
So I love to go along for the ride sometimes.
I love that. I love that because I think that's a perfect example. That's a perfect, succinct little description of what it is. We're going along for the ride. You know, I definitely don't know if I believe in ghosts and the idea that we believe in them now, but I definitely believe in energy, and I definitely believe in, mystery.
Yes.
So something's happening. Something could be happening, right? Who knows? But is it a dead person haunting their enemies? I don't think it is, but that's okay. That's not the topic. The topic right now is mystery. And so I think if we're going to answer the AI's very important questions about humanity, I think the idea of why are we attracted to mystery is a fun place to start, right? It's a fun kind of idea that I've never really thought much about, but I do think it has to do with the idea of being scared safely and being able to have the experience you're talking about, go on that ride safely and know that you could be scared, you could be twisted around, you could be confused, but ultimately you're going to come out the other end with all the knowledge. And I think that's a big factor. So the next question that the AI wanted to know about humans was, why do humans place such importance on traditions, even when the original meaning is no longer relevant? It goes on to explain, traditions seem both unifying and restrictive. What keeps them alive?
My personal theory on this is it's just a connection to our past. When we're doing something traditional, right? Whether that be celebrating a holiday, whether it be, I'm sure there's a myriad of examples. Let's just stay with celebrating a holiday.
Sure.
I think there's something that connects us generationally. This has been a tradition in our family for X amount of years. So people 50 years ago did it this way. My great great grandfather used to do this and whatever. So I think there's a certain level of tradition to it. I mean, a certain level of connectivity to that tradition.
Sure.
And the other side of that coin, I think people just get lazy. We've always done it this way, so we just keep doing it. You know what I mean?
No,
so it's like, oh, we've always done it that way. And then somebody questions you and goes, why do you do that? And you're like, I don't know. We just always have. Yeah. We've done this since I was a kid, So I think that's a mix of the both.
I think I agree with you. I think my samples or examples all revolve around Christmas, because Christmas is such a big tradition in America. And it's a tradition for Americans who are not Christian.
Yeah.
Right. Who don't necessarily believe the meaning of Christmas, or don't have any information about Christianity or any of that stuff. But most Americans celebrate Christmas. There are several who don't, many who don't. You understand my point, I think, is that this general idea of Americans celebrating Christmas and not all of them being Christians certainly means that the tradition has changed, right?
Absolutely.
And that has changed for us as a family. We loved Christmas as kids, but we weren't raised particularly Christian.
Right.
There was no Catholic mass to go to. There was no Christian service on Sunday or Christmas Day or any of that stuff. Yeah. Our Christmas was Winter Wonderland, Santa Claus, mystery and fun, all that kind of stuff, right? So tradition changes, certainly, but the idea of my Christmas will always be the same, even though it is the anti-Christmas, it's not a traditional Christian Christmas,
right?
The way I was raised, I have now gone on and changed my Christmas traditions as well. So my husband and I don't do big gift exchanges. We don't meet with family. We don't have huge dinners. We don't do that stuff because we do a lot of that throughout the year. So at Christmas time, it started in a way that I always worked around Christmas time. I was always busy doing different events and shows and things. And so Christmas always meant something different for me. But now that we also are married and don't have children and are starting our own lives with our own traditions, we do Christmas differently. We like to go on adventures. Last year we were at Chichen Itza in the Yucatan.
That's so cool.
And it was a blast. And the year before at Joshua Tree. And this year we went to some intaglios here in California. So we do different things and we love it. We love it. But try and introduce that to my family. One year we tried to get my family to go on a cruise at Christmas time just for something different. You would have thought I would have suggested they sold the youngest grandchild. Like, it was terrible what they came back with. And I said, oh my God, people, why would we do that? We're not going to cruise. And I was like, no, you're right. Let's all 12 of us gather into one 4-bedroom house for a week that we've done for the last 8 years. And let's do it again this year.
And I think to some people, place a lot of value on tradition, and some people don't, and that's okay. It's both. It's okay for both. You know, because there's all kinds of stuff, wedding traditions, and I'm just
perfect example.
certain, just certain stuff like that. And so there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to. I think the hardest part is for people who are very traditional to realize that it's okay to change that a little bit, and you're not really letting go of who you are. You're not really, you're not dismissing your ancestors or the past or whatever it is. So I'm a little surprised that your family reacted that way, only because I know some of your family, but I would bet anytime somebody goes to somebody who's very traditional and really likes their traditions and says, hey, can we try something new this year? The pushback is crazy. I can see that, because I think the people that are asking to change, the people that are being asked to change I think they get defensive. Like, what's wrong with the way we do this? What's wrong with it? You don't like our Christmas? All of a sudden you have a problem with how we celebrate. And it's like, whoa.
Dial it back. Hold on. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said identity. We identify with things. It helps us become part of who we are. My grandmother did this. My great-grandmother did this. It's part of our identity and part of our history. And a lot of people really wrap themselves up around that concept of the identity and the ego and the history of themselves. And I think you're right. It does affect them. It threatens a lot of them, which is unfortunate. But I think we don't have to look very much further than world religions to see what tradition can do when it's, held in the wrong regards.
Yeah, or just so strictly adhered to that it's like there's no budging. Because what they say, like, if you're so rigid that you're not going to bend, you're going to break. And that's what's going to happen, right? And we have to make room for everybody's ideas in our world.
And with that, we will conclude this segment. That is what we'll tell our AI friend. We'll upload it into the AI universe just so he knows what we're talking about. I'm just kidding. There's no AI friend. It's just ChatGPT. You can call him Bob if you want to, but anyways, I think that was fun. We'll hammer this idea out a little bit more. Maybe see what else they talk about, but it's a fun way. Let us know in the comments, folks, what you think. Do you like this segment? Do you have questions about humanity that the AI missed or the AI should ask? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Absolutely.
And we'll be back for our next segment in just a second. Watch this. All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to what is this? The second episode of our brand new podcast?
The second episode.
Can you believe we're doing this? This is the second episode, but can we tell the people? Should we tell the people? We've been working on this for about 6 months, practicing, learning, getting our shit together, getting the technique down, getting the technology down, and it's still not there. But that's okay.
Right.
We're going to learn as we go.
We're a work in progress. That's life, man. You got to learn. You got to roll with the punches.
That is the truth. We are working. I love that. We are a work in progress. The Work in Progress podcast. Maybe that's what we'll call it. We don't even really have a title yet.
Not yet. We will. We will.
By the time you see this, there will be a title.
Yes.
But as of recording right now, no title. Welcome back to our next segment. We're going to do a segment. It's one of my favorites. It's a segment called This or That. For this game, This or That, we ask simple questions of each other and get a simple response or a not so simple response. It's one or the other, and you get to tell me what you think of the topic. Sometimes I just talk and I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if that made sense, but let's give it a shot. I have a question for you. Teena, would you rather live in a house made entirely of candy or entirely of cheese?
So, mice or bugs? that's how I'm looking at that, because you can't have candy without having ants and all that other stuff. And then what else is attracted to cheese besides me? I do like cheese. I'm going to say candy, because if it rains, at least the candy is hard, or it will be hard after the first rain. It's all going to stick together. So it might make it a little bit better shelter.
Okay.
Because the cheese is going to start to mold and break down, and candy's got all that artificial stuff in it that's never going
to last forever.
Yeah. I can barely digest it.
The idea of living in wet cheese just turned my stomach too. Really gross.
Yeah, it's a little gross.
By the way, I think pragmatism is the perfect way to approach this.
Well, you know what? I think if that's my reality, if you're giving me a reality of either a candy house or a cheese house, I have to think, if those are my choices, how would I do it?
This is a valid struggle, and you should apply these same ideas to this next question. Would you rather own a pet dragon or a pet unicorn?
How big is the dragon?
How big do you want it to be? I don't know.
Can I choose the size? Is it the size
Sure.
of like a Labrador Retriever, or is it the size of like a city bus?
I mean, I think for the sake of argument, we should assume what dragon sizes we're accustomed to seeing.
So like Game of Thrones, flying.
Sure, yeah.
Oh no. Because here's the thing, I'd really like to have a dragon, but a small one, a pocket dragon, if you will.
Well, okay, that's fine. Let's make that
Just
happen.
because
You want the tiny dragon.
I just want a small dragon, because otherwise it's just going to destroy everything. Can you train the dragons? I mean, there's a whole movie about it, right? It's an animated movie.
But let's take it for gospel.
It's not a documentary.
It's not? Wait a minute.
And I do like the idea of the unicorn if we're talking about the horse with the singular horn, because I'm sure you can call lots of things a unicorn if it has one horn.
Oh, I was like, what other thing is a unicorn? No, yeah, I'm talking about
a rhinoceros.
No, that's a rhinoceros. It's not a unicorn.
I know, but okay. So, anywho, do you know those horns are made of hair? The rhinoceros horns? It's the rhinoceros hair. It just grows out and it's so hard and it's all twisted together. Yeah, and it becomes a horn. It's hair.
I don't believe you.
Okay, Google it later. Google it later. I know I'm good at trivia games too, because lots of useless stuff up here.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I'm going to say if I can pick the size of the dragon. Hold
on. You're not going to blow right past the fact that rhinoceros don't grow hair except in the shape of a horn. How does that happen?
Well, they do have hair on their bodies. A little bit. Not a lot.
Well,
it's evolution, baby. Evolution.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's just how it's worked out.
I hope my hair turns into a horn. That would be cool.
What hair? I'm just kidding. I'm just thinking about yesterday when I asked you for a comb and you looked at me like I had 3 heads.
She said to me before we went on the air, "Can I have a comb?" I said, "A what?" She's like, "A brush, something." I said, "Why? I can give you one for my beard. Would you like to brush your beard?" She said, "No."
No, I've bleached it so you can barely see it now.
She shaved it right before we went on the
air. Okay, so I'm going to answer dragon, as long as it's a small dragon.
Sure.
Small like a house, like a dog. Dog I can fit in my house.
Like a house is not a small... Okay.
No,
house pet. Got it. Okay. Would you rather speak every language in the world or talk to animals?
So the fun answer is talk to animals, but I don't think most animals are that bright. So, you know what I mean? Like some of them are really smart animals, right? But how often am I around dolphins?
Oh my God.
Never.
Right.
So
you're going to be talking squirrels and pigeons all day.
Exactly. Pigeons. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I actually would rather speak every language in the world, because I have always been really fascinated about human communication and being able to talk, being able to speak sign language to somebody if I come across someone who's deaf, being able to speak all kinds of languages. My brain just won't hold on to that information. I've taken Spanish classes. I've done it on my phone. I've actually taken classes, and my vocabulary in Spanish is, what is it? Poquito. It's very small.
You should be a UN interpreter by now. The amount of time you've dedicated to Spanish.
Yeah, and I think what it is I don't use it. I don't practice.
That's hard.
So I can read it and I can understand it in the moment, but if I'm not going to use it regularly, it's not going to work. So
I would like fascinating. Yeah, I found it much easier to read Spanish when we were in Mexico than I thought I was.
Yeah.
Like once I knew a handful of words and I understood context, I was like, oh, that sign says this. Oh, that sign says that.
And you know what? With Spanish, you pronounce everything like it sounds. It sounds. It reads the same. I mean, there's some exceptions, of course, but it's not as complicated as English, where we've stolen bits of every other language on the planet and made it our own.
Right.
So it doesn't even work.
And then get indignant about it when it's not pronounced the way we think it should be.
Exactly. We'll pronounce it however we want to pronounce it, but you need to do it the way we say.
That's right.
That's colonizers for you, right?
True.
So yeah, I would like to speak every language in the world. I think that would be cool. I think my brain would explode. I don't know where I would hold all that knowledge. But yeah, I think that would be cool.
I think so too. I think that would be the way to go. For me, that would be my choice. Talk about making some money too. Talk about being able to, have your own world, rule the world. Okay. Would you rather? Oh, this one's kind of gross. Have a tail like a cat or ears like a bunny? Ooh. Tail like a cat or ears like a bunny?
All right. So, if I had a tail like a cat, all of my pants would have to be altered. That's expensive. But What? Oh, my pragmatism was so fun earlier.
No, it's good. It's good. I love it.
I would
Pants
have to,
are an
yeah,
important part of it.
I would have to alter all my pants and then trying to go to the bathroom. Like you've pulled down your pants to go to the bathroom, and now I've got a tail to screw with. Like, really? No, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna pick bunny ears.
Okay.
If those are my choices, because bunny ears are also soft and floppy, and so I could tuck them up under a hat. Maybe I could put them under a wig. What? I'm just saying, if I wanted to hide them, I could. It'd be much easier than a cat tail.
True, very true. No, I am agreeing with your
Maybe
logic.
my balance would get better though if I had a cat tail, because my balance is horrid.
You are a teeter-tottering fool. Your logic is sound. Your logic makes perfect sense to me. I just think that the imagery that you've painted is quite funny, and the fact that you would put a wig over your ears to hide them is...
Well, just to hear, right? So the bottom part's down, like, is open, so I can hear it, so I can hear. Or maybe I get those Princess Leia buns, right, and then I can hear through them. I don't know.
Or a rhinoceros horn. It's made of hair.
It's thick hair, though. It's so dense. I bet if you got poked by that horn, you wouldn't think, oh, that's got to be hair. No.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was cement. That's what I thought. Those things are heavy.
Google it.
Oh, hard. Yeah. Google it. I'm going to the minute we're done. And I'm going to come back the next time and I'm going to be like, Teena was lying. It's made of hair. Okay. So, bunny. Ears like a bunny. That's fair. Always walk backward or always talk in rhyme. These are very important questions the world needs to know.
Right? Especially, they need my opinion on it, right? This is, I am the end all be all here. So I would say I would, oh God, you know how annoying it would be if I always talked in rhyme? People would be like, oh God, here she comes. Although if I always walk backwards, they'd be like, oh my God, here she comes. Really? She can't see us yet because she's walking backwards.
I think they're pretty much going to have that response no matter which option you choose. Oh God.
So, okay, for me personally, I would have to say talking in rhyme because
you're the one playing the game. Just for you personally.
Just for me personally. So I would have to say talking in rhyme because I can barely walk forward sometimes. You know what I mean?
Truth.
I trip. I swear to God, I'm not. And I blame my ADHD because I can't focus on multiple things that, I mean, I think I can, but if I have to lose focus on something, it's my surroundings that I'm moving through, and I bump into walls, I trip over stuff. It's awful.
True. Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely say I couldn't walk backwards, even if my knees bent the other way, it wouldn't work. So I'm going to say I would always talk in rhyme, like Dr.
I think
Seuss.
Talking in rhyme is fun, and I would do it all the time.
You think it's fun now, but try. I wonder if I could pay your husband to speak in rhyme for a week. Oh, he'd have to sit down and think of everything.
Why would you do that?
Because it would annoy the hell out of you after a day. You would be like, oh, talking in rhyme is so fun. And then someone talks to you in rhyme and you're like, okay, knock it off.
I will kill you if you don't stop that right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, these are fair points, and I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion today on this topic.
Well, you're probably right.
Would you rather have a third arm or a second head?
What is it with you and trying to get me to alter all my clothing? Where would the third arm be? Like under one of my existing arms? Would it come out the middle of my chest, out the middle of my back? These are important questions. If I have to, I know where the other head's going to be, right? It's going to be next to my head.
Do you?
Okay. If it's not, I need to know. I'm going to need to know. These are important things. So where's the, first of all, answer the first question. Why are you avoiding the topic? Where's the third arm?
I don't know. As someone, I was going to say, I think you get to pick. You get to pick where you want it. How about that? Oh, or it's in the obvious place. It's not under one of your existing arms. It'd be in the front or back of your body, equal level of your arms and shoulders, and then your second head would be next to your first head. How about that?
Okay, that helps. So then I'll take. In this hypothetical world that you keep sticking me in, it helps. So I'm going to say two heads because two heads are better than one, right? Yes, it would be a little weird, but it's easier to get something with a big neck that you can put both your heads through than it is to find something with a third armhole, especially if I'm the only person in the world that has a third arm coming out of the center of my chest. That's weird, right? And then when I have my arms on my hips, does the other one just sit in the front? Is it in the front, like punching me in the stomach? Or... I don't know.
Oh my God. I regret making this podcast. This is so stupid. Okay.
You're the one setting up the scenarios. You need to be able to answer the basic questions.
You're right. No, you
Two
are
heads.
absolutely right. 2 heads. All right. 2 heads, the Teena story. Okay.
Well, if I'm gonna speak all those languages, I need a second brain.
That's what it is. It's capacity. It's storage capacity. Would you rather eat only dessert forever or eat only savory food forever?
I know you don't like my questions, but
I've become accustomed to them now. Please, what would you like to know?
So the dessert thing. Do I have like a metabolic thing where I can process all this? What? I'm just wondering because I'm not exactly.
Hold on. I just spit coffee all over my existence here. Oh shit, that was stupid. Let's pretend I don't have coffee running down my leg. You were saying? Wow. Oh my god. Oh, look at that.
So here's the thing. I'm crying. Okay.
This is ruined. This whole day is ruined.
So the point of that is, you make it sound like it was such a stupid question, but you're the one that came up with these questions first. Okay, so here's the thing. So obviously the obvious answer is dessert, right? Who doesn't love dessert? I mean, there's lots of people that don't like sweet things, but I'm not one of them. But I'm not exactly skinny as it is, right? So
right, sure. Okay.
The consequence of eating only desserts is that I'm going to be 700 pounds. And then so I'm just wondering, do I have a metabolism that I'm built to just eat desserts and it's fine?
Let's assume you do. Let's assume that this is not a health issue. This is simply purely taste. Like you can eat all dessert or all savory food and you're still going to live 85 years, period.
Why only 85?
That's your death sentence. I just told you. You're only living to 85.
Fine, then I choose desserts.
We'll talk about that in the next episode. Why are you going to die at 85? Desserts? I think I agree. I don't know. That's a hard one for me. I've been thinking about this one. I love
a steak. I do love a steak, and I do love, yeah. But
I can safely say there have been times where I've gone, if I have one more bite of sugar today, I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm going to die. I've eaten too much sugar.
No, I think we've all been there. That's why I'm saying, is it like, do I have some special thing where it's not going to affect me like that? Am I not,
Right.
Because, oh my God, could you imagine if I was on sugar 24/7?
Oh dear God. No.
I mean, I'm drinking Hawaiian punch right now, and I think that's too much sugar for this situation.
I would agree. Yeah. Did you get your big gulp of sugar water over there?
I did. Like a hummingbird.
All right. I got one more question for you, and then we're going to wrap this segment up because I genuinely don't think I can handle any more of this conversation.
All right.
It's not good for my health. I'm dying.
You're great for my ego, though, by the way. I can't talk to you anymore about this. All right.
Your brain is making me sad. Would you rather always be? No, I don't even want to. No,
I don't even know what the question is. I'm crying already. Okay.
Would you rather always be 12 inches tall or always be 12 feet tall?
Okay, I'm not even going to ask you any questions. We're just going to take this at face value.
I think you should ask all the questions you have because that's good content, baby.
But here's the thing about being. So I'm 5'1". I tell everybody I'm 5'2". Nobody knows. They don't measure. Just like guys tell people they're 5'11", they tell people they're 6 feet, whatever.
Oh, I was like, what did guys say?
No, they say, you know what I mean? Everybody's 6 feet tall, right? Whether they are or not. And to me, I don't know the difference because I'm short. So there is an appeal to me for the 12-foot tall thing. However, I would never fit in a regular car. I would never be able to fly on a plane. I would have to have all of my clothes custom made. And, a lot of these questions are dealing with my wardrobe. So I'm wondering.
Hold on. Do you know where you can buy 12-inch tall clothing easily and readily available for 12-inch tall people?
No, I'm not saying that there's mutually exclusive. I'm just saying that, like, if I was 12 inches tall, 1 foot, I could still ride in a car. I would have to be in a car seat for the rest of my life. I probably couldn't drive. Even if I had all the little hand things, I wouldn't be able to reach the steering wheel.
I don't think you'd be able to do anything on your own ever again at 12 inches tall. I think you'd have to have someone with you all the time, everywhere you go. Personally. Like to lift you up off the
but
into the stool, up the thing.
Sideshows aren't still a thing, huh? I couldn't get a job doing that because I could be rich if, like, I let people buy tickets to meet me, right? I'm only 1 foot tall.
But you could also 12 feet tall. I'd pay to see that. I would pay to see that.
Yeah, but how would I travel around the world to let people see me?
Mama, they come to you. You park in Vegas, they come to you. Do a big show, like build it and they will come. I don't know. This is a ridiculous question. I actually was thinking 12 feet. I was leaning towards 12 feet tall.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go with the 1 foot tall, the 12 inches, because I just don't think, I mean, the world's not really made for people who are 12 inches tall, but the world is definitely not made for people who are 12 feet tall.
Sure.
And yeah.
Well, I think you're wrong. We'll let our one fan decide.
Yes.
Fan, what do you think? Let us know. But also, I think we could turn this into a great debate topic for one of our future podcasts.
Yeah, we want to talk more about it. Absolutely.
We are divided on this topic.
I will come with my questions.
I am frightened. Until then, I have to end this segment because I can't handle it anymore. That was this or that. That was Teena. Now you know more about Teena. Aren't you sad? We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Oh my God. I can't even with you. I literally spit coffee all over my leg. It's ridiculous.
Welcome back. So we have another segment that we want to do, which is our topic talk. This is going to actually be our second topic talk of the show today. I want to talk a little bit about anger and conflict because I think you and I handle that very differently. I don't think that's not a guess. I know for sure you and I handle that very differently. So I'm going to ask you, and then I will chime in if anybody cares.
Of course they do.
I know.
Of course they do. If they watched the last segment, they are dying to know more of what you think. Trust me.
Sure. So the topic. So how do you handle conflict? There's several parts to this question, but we're going to start with that. How do you handle conflict?
It really depends. Obviously, I handle it in a way that is, appropriate. I think I've learned how to not lash out, if that's where we're going. But conflict can be all kinds of conflict. It can be personal conflict in your relationship. It can be professional conflict. It can be conflict with strangers, right? So I handle conflict differently depending on the situation that it is.
Okay.
As a former New Yorker, 16 years living in Manhattan, the stranger conflict is the easiest conflict to have. It is the easiest. Hey, fuck you, and then you're on your way.
Right? It just blow up and let it go and
absolutely
move on.
Yeah, exactly, because you don't have time to do anything else. This idiot is in your way. Get out of the way. Fuck you, and you move on, or you shove and push in the subway or whatever it is. It's an aggressive time, but it is what it is.
Okay, let me narrow this down a little bit.
Okay.
So conflict within your family. So let's say you're at a family gathering, Christmas. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be Christmas in front of everybody. Sure. But a topic comes up. Let's say something controversial, maybe political, maybe religious, I don't know, whatever. We're not going to pick one, but something controversial comes up that you feel very strongly about on one side. And let's say an aunt or your brother or somebody feels very different on the other side. So how do you handle and it just came up. So obviously in my particular situation, I'd be like, well, we need to avoid that topic, but sometimes you can't.
Right.
So some topic comes up. It's very passionate on both sides with opposites. So how do you handle that?
That is, honest to God, the hardest one. That for me, that is the hardest conflict because it is family and it is we have history and they know who I am and what I am.
Right.
and there's not this need to, maybe they don't know, maybe they don't understand, maybe they don't, if my family is poking and pushing those buttons, they're doing it because they know exactly what they're doing, right? So for me, that conflict is the hardest, and I'm not very good at it. I would I would defend my case or my point or my side or whatever it is we're arguing about, and I would probably raise my voice a little bit. I would do my best not to be the first person to raise my voice. That's always I really struggled with that one. But once voices get raised, I'm right in there with it. But then at some point, I will simply dismiss the situation because for me, it's a power move. I use dismissal, whatever, it's fine. Thank you, as a way of dismissing someone, and it infuriates most people when I do it. So it's really satisfying to me to do that. But this is where I have the problem with conflict. I will shut it down and I will ignore it and not deal with it. But I will get that last dig. I will with my family. I'll shut it down.
It's kind of a dick move, but yeah.
It's a total dick move.
But dick
move. That's why I don't go to my family anymore. I don't hang out with my family.
Yeah, I know, but I respect it. I mean, at some point you have to stop it, right? And so whether it's like, okay, let's agree to disagree. And I have a hard time with agree to disagree because especially if I feel passionate about something, I'm right. You're wrong. You're wrong. So I'm not going to agree to disagree. I'm going to agree that you're wrong, and we should probably not talk about this anymore.
Right. But do you always have to be right? Do you always have to be right?
No.
Because I don't think you're that person.
No, I don't. And I'll tell you, I have changed my mind on a lot of things over the years once I learned more.
Sure.
Okay. So I used to be, well, I don't want to get into it because it's very, I don't know. It's just, it can be very button pushy for a lot of people, but I used to have certain views that I held staunchly and no one was going to tell me any different. And then I went to college and had to do research papers on things. And when you have to research something and you have to research both sides, I took a debate class, which was probably the best thing for me in those situations, because I'm like, you want me to argue against this, but I agree with that side. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you personally believe. You need to come up with your argument against, and you need to find good information, or you need to come up with your argument for, and you don't believe it. And I'll tell you, I learned some stuff that I didn't know and that I probably wouldn't have gone looking for had I not been presented with that information. So I don't think I always have to be right. But if I have done the research, if I have looked into it, if I know that you're just saying something off the cuff because either one, you just want to disagree with me because you just want to be ornery, or two, because you heard something somewhere once from someone, you can't show me the receipts, you can't show me your sources, and I know that I'm right, then I have a hard time letting go of that, letting go of that. And I, earlier on, I would say even 10 years ago, I would be the person getting into arguments with people on the internet, which is the most futile thing to ever do. But I wouldn't argue with strangers. Let me be clear. I would say things like, my family would post dumb stuff and I'd be like, actually, which I know is nobody's favorite thing, but I'd be like, you're wrong. And then I would cite my sources. I'd be like, look here, look here, look here. Yeah. And then Jack one time came in, he's like, what are you doing? I said, my uncle put this dumb stuff on there. And I'm saying, he goes, why? You're not going to change his mind. And I was like, yeah, but I'm showing him the evidence that he's wrong. He can go read it himself. He's like, he's not going to read it. He doesn't care. And then I continued my argument, and my uncle responded and said, yeah, I know, but my story is more fun. And I just, my head almost popped off my shoulders.
Yep. That's literally what that's exactly.
So, I do try to avoid that kind of conflict. I do, especially with family members and friends, what their views are on certain things.
Absolutely. And I think my family is really good about avoiding certain topics and not talking about certain stuff. And when it comes to colleague or client relations or professional relations or anything else like that, obviously I can do it. I know how to handle and manage conflict. Professional situation. I've taken many courses. I've been in many situations where you have to learn how to handle this, especially when you're managing people. And so I know how to do that, and I can turn it on and off. It's really hard to apply to family, and I don't take the time to apply it to strangers.
I'm right there with you. I've taken a lot of classes myself. I've gone through a lot of management training. I've done different things for different companies that I've worked for. It's all very like, when you're going through management training and you're going through conflict resolution with that kind of thing, it's always very like, you need to leave the emotion out of it. We need to stick to the facts, and we need to keep it to work. Nothing gets too personal, that kind of stuff. But with your family, that just all flies right out the window, because it is personal, and there is no professionalism here. You've known me since I was born. You know what I mean? So now we're gonna fight.
Yeah, that's right. Because you know what your response is going to do. You know where this conflict is going to go.
Yeah.
So don't poke the bear.
Yeah, and I really try not to. So anyway, that was the long version of the first question. The second one: what are some things that trigger you to anger? Or a thing, if you have one big hot button topic.
Wow, there are so many. I'm a real big fan of railing against the stupidity of humanity. It's one of my go-to things to do, and just the blatant ignorance of passing on information that they don't know anything about. The idea of just the blowhard. I give a blowhard. That's who it is. It's a person who's just coming in huffing and puffing, thinking they're the way, they're the one. Whether they're right or not about what they're saying, it's how they approach it. That'll send me over the edge the fastest.
Yeah.
And I'm talking in a professional situation. You come up to me and you go, "Excuse me, this is the way it's going to be." I'm going to match that energy. I'm going to match every single drop of energy coming at me. Yeah. And
you're good at that too. You're really good at that. I know we've talked about this on our first podcast, but you You're really good
Yeah.
at that. You don't take crap from people. And I think that's good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, just at some point, especially the amount of customer service that I've done, the amount of, hospitality work that I've done, the amount of just living in New York City and being around people all the friggin' time, you have to develop that ability, because everyone will push you down. Everyone will. There's other things to do and they don't care about you. So you have to set up for yourself. But it's a hard lesson for a lot of people to learn. And I've never been a people pleaser. So I'm grateful for that. I know a lot of people, you included, struggle with people pleasing. And it's a legitimate struggle. It is a hard world to live in when you are a people pleaser, because you just want everyone to be happy and get along and do all the whole things. And I couldn't care shit.
Yeah.
I like to say, I don't give a shit if the world burns behind me, but I mean, of course,
as you're walking away,
I'm walking away.
Yeah, no. And I, that is something I have struggled with, people pleasing. And, it's the anxiety, I think, from our generation, right? So Generation X spent a lot of time kind of on their own as kids, right? And so we had to manage things ourselves a lot.
Absolutely.
And so, because our parents worked, and it was probably the first generation where you had to have 2-parent income and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So our parents worked, and they were, we had a lot of time, especially once we got out of school and we were home by ourselves for several hours. And for those of us that have brothers and sisters, there was and I was the oldest. So it was my responsibility to make sure nobody got hurt, to make sure there was nothing burned down while my parents were gone. And so I do have that anxiety, and I did genuinely have developed anxiety about it. If I still, so I've gotten better as I've gotten older. I've gotten more able to take the emotion out of that, to be able to say, okay, hold on. Before I can see it coming, so I can try and head it off before it gets there. Right.
Right.
But the anxiety that raises in me when especially two people that I like, don't get along, just makes me crazy. And, but I have become better at not, because I think what goes with people pleasing is being a little bit of a doormat. And maybe not for all people pleasers, but for me, because it was like, I'll suffer so you guys can be happy. And people are quick to know that about you and take advantage of it.
100%.
And
I think that's a safe assessment. I think that is a safe assessment of people pleasers. Is the tendency to become a doormat. It just is, because people will take advantage of it. Yeah.
And so as I've grown older, I've become more accustomed to be like, what is the phrase? Don't take my kindness for stupidity. So what has happened now, what has developed in me now, is I can take a lot. So I have a wall, though, and it takes a lot to get to my wall. But when we get to my wall, now my goal is to make you cry. I'm done. We're done. Yes, I don't care what else is going on. We're done. I think your wall is way closer to you than my wall is to me.
Much.
You know what I mean?
You get to my wall a lot faster than your wall. For sure.
And for me, I'm like, I'm going to try to be nice, but I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you take advantage of me. I'm going to be kind and nice and all of those things, but you're only going to get that a couple of times before I'm going to start swinging, whereas you're going to give it to them once, and then it's like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
I'll
never forget. I watched this thing about, Americans versus Europeans, or something about what's different about Americans versus other people in the world. Lots of those videos on YouTube.
Right.
And one of them was about whether or not Americans are polite, in the sense that an American will say, oh, no, thank you. Oh, no, thank you, to something. And in other countries, you have to be a lot more aggressive with a no, And someone in the comments said, true, but watch an American go from the second no thank you to get the fuck out of my face really fast. And I've never read anything more true. No, get the fuck away from me, because you're not respecting what I'm telling you.
Right.
I will be polite. We will have this moment, but it's only going to go so far if you are not respecting what I'm saying.
You know where that comes out in me? Exactly. People who come and knock on my door, try to sell me something, knock on my front door, disturb my dinner with my family. I have been defaulted as I'm the person that needs to answer the door if I'm home, because I'm not going to talk to them for half an hour. Right. I'm going to let them give me a short spiel. Give me your elevator pitch. And then if it's something I'm interested in, great. If it's not, most of the time it's not.
Right.
Then I'm going to say, no, thank you. And then they're going to go, well, let me know. I already said no. And then it becomes you need to get off my property right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Usually it doesn't go that far. There have been a couple of times where I'm like, I said no. I had someone follow me up my driveway to the door, and I'd already told them no twice. And I whipped around on her and I said, get the F off of my property.
Good for you, because
And
what the hell?
well, I had it. My oldest son was a newborn at the time. I was carrying him in his carrier. My husband and I were bringing in groceries, and I had the carrier, and I was like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. No, thank you. And then I just whipped around.
Exactly.
And I was also, new mom. So I had all those extra hormones, and I was like, I was going to fight with somebody.
Mama bear's protecting her kid. Yeah, of course. And I think that's, as an American, I think that's reasonable. I really do. I think, if you're not going to respect what I'm saying, you're going to hear about it. But yeah, so conflict is triggering. Conflict is a challenge for me, and I definitely I fail a lot. I succeed a lot, especially in business. I want to reiterate that. In a professional situation, I do very well succeed, but in personal situations, conflict can be a real challenge for me, and I tend to dig into it a little bit more than I should.
And when you say, you wanted to be clear about professionalism, it's true. And I've heard people say this, and you have the person that you are at work and the person that you are at home. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'll say, I've seen you at work, and I know your professionalism is on it. I mean, you're good. You're really good with it. And you take far more than you would take in your personal life than you do at work, because you know that you have to, sometimes it's a communication issue. Sometimes it's people really just are going to try and push you. But it is true. It is true about being two different people, because whereas I would take more in my personal life than I would take at work. But I still take a lot. I'm still good to go through all the stuff at work, but yeah, it's just different. It's just how you handle yourself. It's what face you're showing the person you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But it does make a difference, but
it does. And I get why people have a problem with it too. I get why conflict can be a challenge for a lot of people to face. Anger is a hard thing for a lot of people to face. They'd rather just ignore it. No, it's fine. It's fine. But then that's when you blow up, you explode.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that is our talk number 2. So we're going to wrap this. Yeah, we're going to wrap this segment up, and we'll be right back with another one. Welcome back. I would like to introduce a new segment called Random Awesomeness. So here's my struggle with the news. I get a lot of people, they're like, oh, do you watch the news? Or you didn't see this on the news? It's so depressing, right? It's so depressing. I do watch the news. I read the headlines. I do all of that. But I wanted to talk about things that I have seen either in the news or wonderful stories being reported, things of that nature. So I want to just have a segment where we do that. So this fun thing.
I love that idea.
Okay,
Random
I'm glad.
Great idea.
Glad.
Yes, let's do it.
I have came across this story about, because we're in the holiday season right now. So whenever this airs, it's we just had Christmas. Right. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about NORAD Track Santa. Are you familiar with that app or that website?
I am. Santa Tracker.
Santa Tracker. Yes, absolutely. So I came across a story that talks about how that got started. Are you familiar with that at all? Do you know how it came about?
Oh, I don't think I am. No.
Okay. So what happened was, and I have notes here because I don't want to get anybody's name wrong. I didn't want to do that. So if I'm looking off,
she's a journalist. People. She does.
Well, I just want to, so it was so fun. It was so anyway. This is what happened. So Santa Tracker's been going on for about 70 years. I don't know if you know that it's been going on.
Really?
Yes, it's been going on for about 70 years.
Okay.
And in December of 1955, this was about a year after this phone was established. So what happened was, basically, the Pentagon established this phone number, and it was to alert the military if there was an air raid or if there was an attack over North America, right? And this compound, this place, eventually became NORAD. And there was this phone number. It was like the bat phone, and it was only supposed to ring if there was a threat. Well, December of 1955, the phone rings, and the commander of that, it was the Continental Air Defense Command, which eventually became NORAD. And his name was Colonel Harry Shoup.
Colonel Harry Shoup.
Colonel Harry Shoup. And he answered the phone, and then this little kid was like, hi, are you Santa? And he was like, excuse me? How did you get this number? He treated it like it was a prank call, because nobody should have this number. Nobody should be calling this number.
Colonel Shoup was confused.
Shoup was confused. And after he made the child cry,
of course,
because what do you do? He then kind of picked it up and kind of pretended to be Santa a little bit, and asked to talk to the child's mom. And the mom gets on the phone and he's like, I need to know how you got this number. And she was like, we got it out of the Sears catalog. And he was like, what? So it turns out that year, Sears had done a promotion, and they printed they had set up a phone number, and it said, kids, ask your parents, you can call us and talk to Santa anytime, day or night. Well, the number that Sears had set up was 1 digit off of this number, the super secret number, and they printed the wrong number. They printed this military number.
Super secret number. Oh my God.
So they started getting calls all the time. And as soon as this colonel figured this out, he was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. He took 2 airmen that were working on the base, put them on the phones, and he was like, you guys are going to pretend to be Santa. And they were like, okay. And so these people fielded these calls. Well, at the time, before computers as we know them, they had a big board in the back, and they were tracking all the airplanes, that were coming around. And you had to actually move the little peg, the airplane, to show where it was going. Well, somebody push pins along the board. Yes, somebody put a Santa sleigh up there because of the phone calls that they were taking. And when the colonel saw that, they were like, oh my God, we're so sorry. We'll take it down. He goes, no, it's fine. Leave it up there. He was having a really, he had kids himself, and he was really having fun with this. So he called into a local radio station and said, hey, I'm the commander of, I don't think he gave him the real place he was, but he said, we're tracking an unidentified flying object, and it looks like Santa's sleigh.
Oh, cute.
And then from there, that radio station called him every hour on the hour to get an update on where Santa was in the world. That's how it started. They've just kept it going. Wow. Yeah. And now, of course, now we're on a website, and they've got all this, and you can pick it up and see where Santa's at. But I just thought that was a really cute story, because it could have gone so badly. Because
it usually does go badly in that situation.
And it started to. Yes, he made a small child cry. But I mean, when you're calling that number, they need to know what the heck is going on.
That child deserved it. No, I'm teasing.
But they've kept it going for 70 years, which I just thought was great.
Well, when you mentioned this story earlier in our pre-production meeting, I was excited to hear this because Santa Tracker is. I mean, I remember that as a kid. It was part of our lives growing up, and you tune in and you watch it on Christmas Eve, and boy, they will do it the whole night long. And now, of course, I hadn't watched it in a long time. I tuned in a couple years ago, and it's all digital, and it's all it's incredible now. It's fun. Yeah.
And we've done it with our kids. I mean, my kids are older.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But we get, okay, let's go see where Santa's at, and especially to try and get him to go to bed early. We're like, oh, you need to get to bed. Santa's coming.
Santa's on his way. He's over there and wherever. Yeah. Yeah. That's sweet. I like that story. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course. So we're going to have many more things like that. We'll pepper them into our different episodes. But I just want to make sure that we took time to share some fun or lighthearted stories, or just some of them are going to be amazing, because I've looked ahead into a couple of these, and some of them are just like, wow, great news.
I love that. If you have any suggestions for random awesomeness stories that you want us to cover or look at, please let us know in the comments. Give us a message, give us a shout, and we'll check it out. Especially Teena. She loves to do research. She's got nothing but time on her hands. She'll love to look at it.
Yes. And our fan, we would really appreciate your help with this. So
yeah, please do let us know.
Well, this marks the end of our second podcast. Chris, what did you think?
We are on our way, right? I'm not sure where we're going to go, but we are on our way. We'll find out together, won't we?
Yes, let's get this episode out there and see what the world thinks.
I think it's going to blow up. That's what I'm deciding. I think it's going to blow up and go viral.
Of course it is. But we're going to get everybody's help to get there. So please give this video a like. And if you had a giggle, leave us a comment. Tell us your thoughts. If you disagree with anything we said, please let us know. Anything you'd like to see on a future episode, you'd like to hear us debate, let us know.
Yeah, and please share our posts with your friends and family, and tell them about these 2 midlife weirdos who are determined to have fun at all costs, who spit coffee out of their mouths and make a fool out of themselves. And tell them about it. Let them know we're going to be here every single week, and we hope to see you guys along the way. Thanks for watching. Say goodbye, Teena.
Goodbye, Teena.
Bye.
Bye.